What is up, DTube, Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk about this concept of will daily tokens earned matter in a few years? And of course, I'm mainly now am addressing Steemians and the people that are basically earning tokens in some way. Will it matter in a few years? Well, the more I look into it, the more I see it as no, it's really not going to matter. What I think is going to happen is the way people are sort of looking at tokens is going to transform. It's not going to look to be looked at as much as, oh, this is like a job, because what I think is going to happen is, well, we sort of see how this sort of industry works is it's an exponential industry, right? So first of all, people are looking at the USD value, which I find pretty silly because you basically you're measuring stuff by observing what an old system thinks about an exponential system in terms of, okay, what is value, and the USD value is always going to be wrong because it's slower. It's a slower system. It's operating in a slower system, so it can't really see that it's going to be replaced, right? So so that system is sort of designed way more. I don't know. It's just a slower system. So what I think is gonna happen in this industry is it is like this hockey stick curve where you don't really see something being replaced, but then one day you're gonna realize, oh, it's actually got replaced, and it's gonna happen pretty fast, and then the market is going to see just from one day to another, people are gonna see, whoa, why is this worth so much? So so it's kind of interesting, I think, considering this idea of earning tokens per day. So first of all, tokens, this is opening up this window of programmable money, and that people can sort of print their own money if they're owner in something. And that's where the general trend is going. So the real magic here is this thing where if someone is an owner, they have some tokens or whatever, they have a share in the network, they are allowed, they get permission then to print more of those tokens. And these systems can be a smart contracts, they can be, Steam blockchain, can be some Ethereum smart contracts. But what it all is about is printing more ones and zeros by being an owner in something already. So eventually you're gonna get to this point where, well, people have so much already. So yeah, it's a little bit cool to get a little bit more, but maybe then people are not really gonna be so like obsessed about what they're getting on a daily basis. But people are a little bit more obsessed about what they're getting on a daily basis when they're sort of new to this industry, or when they're just earning their first tokens and so on. But as time goes on, I think that you see this trend in more and more people, that they're not really that they're not really that obsessed with how much they're earning from, for example, a post, or or something. I mean, eventually it's not even, I don't even see that people try to maximize it so much. So people sort of, sometimes they don't post in a few days, sometimes some people just do it once every week or so. So it's not as a regular job in the fiat world, where people are like super obsessed with what they're sort of earning on a daily basis, because they sort of have to, right? Because it's more a scarcity based system. But eventually, but this new system, is because eventually it brings up more abundance. It's, I don't think people are gonna be able to, I mean, even if they try to maximize, try to get all the value, that's still not gonna work, because the pie is going to be so big that that game is gonna look like, it's gonna look silly eventually. It's gonna look like, well, why are you doing that when you can just be normal and do whatever now it is you're doing at your own sort of pace and speed. So I don't really think that tokens earned daily eventually is gonna matter so much. And people have had fun playing around with these mind ideas of, oh, maybe we're gonna have hundreds of tokens that we earn daily. But I don't really think many people are gonna care about that eventually, because even if you can do that, they're just gonna do it with like one that is like easy, and then they're not really gonna see a point to do it with all these other things, because yeah, they already have value, so they don't really need so much more value, right? So that's kind of fascinating. And then we also even have this concept of eventually, when people have even more tokens and have even more powerful hardware and software, they're probably just gonna set up a set up their phone on auto to do something automatic. As you know, with the automation sort of industry sort of coming in, it can do a lot of things, right? Everything that you can do, the automation can do as well, much better and much faster. And it's also kind of interesting to to consider these concepts of, even these concepts of that someone earns something from maybe do a post on a place, but we should also take into consideration then that a lot of that is like very, very instant. For example, you're being paid the moment some click happens. Either a manual human is doing it, or a robot is seeing, oh, we have made up a rule in the network, so if someone is posting something, send some value to that place. So already when someone posts something, they already have earned it in a way, you can say already in a second, especially if there is some automation going on. As you can see, for example, on Steam, some people auto vote and so on. So that's also kind of interesting how that is kind of like changed, how stuff is more happening in an instant. Even before, let's say you have some auto votes, even before you even post, you sort of already know that this already has a real value, and you haven't even posted it yet. Well, maybe in a real job, you need to put in a lot of hours, a lot of hours, and more manual stuff and so on. So it's so much faster that you can't even like imagine it. And then eventually it is like, if a person has something that goes up so much in value, like, do they really need more, or can they create their own sort of interest in a way? Can they have their own little robot that they set up that is doing videos with audio and video, and it just makes one of them per day, right? So you really can eventually automate most of these things. And then probably people are not really going to be so much focused on uh, on the daily earnings, And this also, of course, ties into other goods and services that may go down in value, which is also something that people do not consider, that maybe food becomes cheaper, or something like that. Maybe electricity becomes cheaper or something like that eventually, and that also opens up a lot of interesting aspects where you can do more with less, which is also very, very interesting. So I don't really think that what people are sort of earning daily, a few tokens, that it's gonna matter so much in a couple of years. Just by looking at the way software is going, looking at how automation is going, looking where hardware is going, and all of this, it's going to it's really going to be a paradigm shift in how people are sort of looking at value, and that money is not really something magical. It's just right now, it's just, can someone multiply ones and zeros in a computer? And if they can, it's like that's success. Controlling a person then is not a success. Mm. So a lot of these systems, a lot of these blockchains that makes more value, and they just keep on going, they are pretty amazing in many ways, because they all sort of automated systems of value that just keeps on going, and the code just sits there, and then people can use it if they want. They don't have to, and then it just keeps on going, keeps on going, keeps on going. Very, very fascinating stuff. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how people are going to relate to a lot of these things in a few years, because the way I sort of looking, like if you do some number calculations on a lot of this stuff, where it's going up to pretty big numbers eventually, and it's going to be interesting to see how humans relate to those numbers, because these numbers, they're going to be really, really big. They're going to be huge. um, they are going to be massive. So it's going to be very, very interesting to follow the 2020 decade, which is coming up now next month. And I don't believe in this decade that we can't really look at it as, oh, how productive, how efficient can a human being be, because you're never really going to be able to be more efficient and do stuff faster than a machine. Like eventually the machine is going to outcompete you in speed. So we can't really, like a human being, it can't compete against a machine when it comes to speed, because the machine is going to do it so much faster, so much better. And that's great in many ways, because then humans can be on a holiday forever. And that's really what we want, right? We don't really want to do all these tasks that a machine can do. Like if they can do it, awesome. We don't have to do it. Like that's really, really great. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Have a great day, DTube and Steam blockchain.